Hi, this is Roger in Finland, and today I want to share a few things that I have learned after 2 years and more than 120 videos posted in this channel. So for the impatient ones, one important thing is the preparation and having a script about what am I going to talk about. Another one is technical aspects, so lighting and framing. Then there's all the color grading, which is also a technical aspect. And the one thing that I have learned, which has been really useful, especially for me, is consistency and repetition. And that goes for the post-production and how to set up the resolve templates, how to light, how to color grade, and how to do these videos in general, so I can do them in the most economical manner that I can. But first, a couple of disclaimers. So I'm not claiming to be good at any of the things that I'm talking about, but I have become better at them. The other one is that this is for me a hobby. So I do have a full-time job, I have a family, we have other hobbies as well. So I need to find a way to get the most out of the time that I spend doing this. And now let's go for some more details, and I will explain the things that I have learned in a chronological order of what goes for me into making one of these videos. The first thing being preparation. And for that, before going into my own particular learning, I would recommend you to take a look at this video from Becky and Chris. I'm gonna put the link down below, but she goes in depth of what it takes for them to do the preparation. A lot more production value than what I'm doing here, so they are a little bit different levels of abstraction, but still hopefully interesting for you. So from the preparation perspective, to me it's really important to have a script or an outline of what I'll be talking about. At the beginning, when I started making these videos, I was so excited about making the video itself that I would set everything up and the camera and the lights and whatnot. And then I would start to figure out, what am I going to talk about today? Or I might have had an idea, or maybe the headline or the title, and then hoping that it will just come. It almost never did. So I would spend an awful lot of time setting a setup and then really fighting against the nervousness and of being in front of the camera and actually knowing really what to say. And then at some point I tried to use a teleprompter, but that did not work out well for me. The extra time required to set it up, something that I don't appreciate because again, I need to be economical with time. Then the fact that you need to write the script in such a way that it can be readable and then sound natural, I was not really good at it, so it was just slowing me down and the videos were not sounding as I wanted them to sound. So nowadays I just use a notebook. I don't read verbatim the script that I have here. So many times I do have sentences that are just an idea and then I will elaborate on them, hopefully sounding natural while I'm talking to the camera. And then I also know that 3 to 4 pages worth of my scripting, it's about 10 minutes, which is usually the length that I try to aim these videos. Today might be a little bit longer. I have 5 pages worth of content here, so let's see how it will be. Another thing is that I would not be able to go through the whole script in one take, and I'm okay having jump cuts. Sometimes I will try to hide them with B-roll or with titles that make the jump cuts feel a little bit less jarring, but if they are there, it's okay. Trying to do everything in one take would take a long time. Repeating a sentence here and there, not so much. Usually, for a 10-minute video, my full recording is somewhere between 14 to 17 minutes. So there's not that much to throw away, and that's nice. Then I mentioned repetition and consistency, and that is important. For one, having a consistent look for your videos. I'm not doing great at that, but I'm taking small steps towards it. And the second reason for the repetition for me is to save time. Lighting and framing is an important thing. If I take a look at some of the older videos, they are all over the place. Most of them in this office space, but still in different places. And every time that I would set up, I would think where to sit, where to place the camera, where to place the lights, what to hide, what to not hide. Nowadays, I know that that shelf is there as it is, that wall is there as it is. I put the camera in the same place, I put the light in the same place, I set everything up, and I'm ready to go and shoot the video. So that consistency is saving me a lot of time and a lot of headaches, and I'm even more relaxed when starting to speak to the camera. Then about framing, of course, you can go and learn and please do things about the rule of thirds or the golden ratio. But here to me, the thing that I have learned the most that makes a difference on how my videos look like, it's headroom. I'm usually leaving not too much of it. Maybe some people will prefer a little bit more, but in some of my earlier videos, it's just a ton of it. And then my head feels like it's just installed at the bottom of the screen. And that looks really unpleasant. Then is the general amount of framing, general amount of stuff that it's in the field of view, which is framing. I have discovered through experiment and error with a lot of errors that my favorite focal length for these videos in this room is a 35mm equivalent field of view in full frame, which means 17mm if I am in Micro Four Thirds, or 23, 24, 25 if I'm in APS-C. Right now we're shooting with the Zcam E2S6 with a make it 25mm, which gives me that field of view that I do like. I know what I will get in the frame, I know my proportions in the frame, I know how big my head will be in the frame, and I'm okay with it. And at this distance, the compression is something that I can live with. So headroom, the thing that I learned. Then about lighting, it's not so much about how to light precisely, but how to keep it as simple as possible and as good looking as possible. I went through the YouTuber phase of having some RGB lights in the background, which every single time I had to set up, because this is not a studio, it's just a room that every time I film videos I need to set things up. I would go back there and set a light and check which hue of blue or pink or whatever it was. Then the batteries would run out. I was just having a headache. Then another big stupid mistake is because many times I'm shooting in log and in the monitor or in the camera, I just see the log image. I didn't see that much color coming, so I would crank those RGB lights way too much, were lighting too much, and then it was actually fighting with the key light. Anyway, it was not bringing any value to the videos, it was bringing headaches to me. So what I do now is just have one light. This is the Godox FL100 as a key light, and that's it. If I have a lot of time and I feel inspired, I might put the non-light power tube somewhere here to be as a rim light on the other side. But that requires also figuring out how to power the thing, since the battery doesn't last that long. Anyway, I usually keep it simple, like now with one light. Repetition. This one light, I have it actually, everything is set up with the softbox and the grid in a cabinet. So I just pull out the stand, the light goes on top, the microphone is right here, the camera in front of me, and I can start talking. Repetition makes it easier for me to actually crank up videos. And another thing related to saving time. So almost every time that I do the setup, I try to film 2 to 3 videos that then I'm going to be editing and releasing through the next 2 to 3 weeks. Once again, the big reason is that I don't have that much chances to do this. So when I have an hour or an hour and a half to do something like this, the first 10 minutes go to maybe set everything up. A lot of work have gone through putting the scripts together before in the evenings while watching TV, or whenever I have free time, which is in the evenings while watching TV. And then when I'm here, I can do this. I can take everything down, and then I don't need to use the equipment for a couple of weeks, but I still can have a consistency on the amount of videos I can release. And then after the videos have been filmed, then I go into the editing and post-production, which sounds a bit too fancy for what I do, but anyway, what things are useful and what things have I learned? Again, repetition and consistency. One of the things that I do have nowadays is a project template in DaVinci Resolve that has the intro and the outro. I used to spend, again, an unreasonable amount of time trying to design an outro and find music for it, and most people don't reach the end of my videos anyway. So that was a silly waste of time. Nowadays I have an intro and an outro that I can just edit very, very quickly in the end of the editing process of the video, and those are there always. So having that project template, having the intro and outro and the logos and everything done just once saves a lot of time. Then we have color and color grading, and yes, I know that today I'm filming with a Zcam S6, so it feels unfair to say that this looks better than what my videos used to look like, because it's a great camera, but I have learned a lot, and just let me show you what I mean. Compare, please, the look of this video we just shot on a compact camera, the Sony ZV-1, to this one we just shot with the Sony A7 III, with pretty much the same light or same amount of money spent on lights. Here I know what I'm doing, here I didn't know what I was doing. So yes, I have learned a ton. And the question could be, well, what made the big difference? The biggest difference has been learning about color managed workflow in DaVinci Resolve, which sounds really, really fancy, but it's not that difficult. It's about knowing how to use color space transform to use from whatever log footage you're working into something that you like to work with, and from that to Rec 709 in the end. That's really just 2 nodes that I have ready anyway in a power grade, and then just adjusting a couple of things in the between. I don't do any fancy grades, but nowadays I get looks that I do like. I'm not sure if they look good, but I do like how they look like, compared to the fights I had with S-Log2 when I didn't know what I was doing. And credit to Tony Day, who was a person that I learned a lot from, especially on the domain of color space transforms, color grading and color management in DaVinci Resolve. Please subscribe or check his channel, link down below. So what is my summary of my learnings? First is the scripting phase, which for me, a notebook with the outline is the best solution. For some might be the teleprompter, and some people will use other means, but the preparation is key. Second one is having a repetitive workflow when it comes to shooting the videos. I know how to light this room nowadays. I know where to place this camera and with what lenses for my preferred look every single time in the same place, so that I can focus on just delivering the speech, which is hard enough as it is. Then is repetition on the post-production. Project template in DaVinci Resolve, color management for the color grading. And if you're wondering, why do you need to color grade? Couldn't you just shoot in like normal profiles or Rec 709? Yes, you could, but it's kind of fun to do color grading, so I like to do it. There you go. And finally, in my case, it's very useful to bundle several videos and filming them at once, and then have the time to edit, because I don't have a studio space that I can just walk in and record videos whenever I want. This is a one-time setup for today. After I'm done, everything goes down and up to its places. So shooting several videos at once is very, very helpful for me to keep the cadence of releasing. So with all that said, what am I planning to improve next? Thumbnails, because that's a place that I have not been consistent with, and I would like to try to do so. So that's a goal for me for 2022. I hope you liked this video. If you did, please like and subscribe, and we're gonna see you soon for some more content.